When it comes to rods, I'm known as a bit of a perfectionist. To put it quite simply, I'm competing at the highest level where small percentages make a massive difference. So everything has to be right, and that includes my rods. So when it came to the Steve Ringer range, I knew what I wanted. We had lots of different prototypes, lots of testing, lots of going back to the drawing board, to be fair, but eventually we've arrived at a range of rods that I'm really proud of. When it comes to concept, what I wanted was something a little bit more refined. So silverfish in mind, we're talking sort of roach, skimmers, bream, and natural venues. So lakes, reservoirs, rivers, and small commercials. So they can handle like carp up to a decent sort of size, but predominantly they're silverfish rods, because that's exactly what I wanted. There's 3 rods in the range. We've got a 10-foot, an 11-foot, and a 12-foot. Obviously they're feeder rods because that's what I'm known for. That's the style of fishing I mainly do now. So starting with the 10-foot, it comes with 3 tips. We've got a 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce, and an 1.5 ounce tip. So you've got a tip to suit any sort of scenario you're going to come up with, from really close range roach and skimmer fishing to a little bit of carp fishing, as in chucking to islands, big F1s, that style of fishing. That's what that rod is all about for me. It's not a big carp rod, but it'd be perfect for venues like Lindome, etc., Westwood, where there's short chucks. But equally, and this is where I come into it, short roach fishing, speed, skimmers at Tamar, at short range, maybe inside 10 metres, but equally up to 30 metres, the 10-foot is the perfect rod for that. Next up is the 11-foot. Comes with the same tips as the 10-foot, as in 3/4 ounce, ounce, and 1.5 ounces. Now for me, the 11-foot is what I call like a 20 to 40 metre range rod. Skimmers and roach, will handle bream, no problem. We'll even handle small carp and F1s, just like the 10-foot. But it comes into its own in places like Ireland, speed fishing for roach. Or again, a venue like Tamar, where I want to fish a little bit further out, maybe 30, 40 metres for skimmers. It's got a fantastic soft action, which is ideally suited to light lines, small hooks, and natural venues. Last but certainly not least, we've got the 12-foot. Now this comes with a slightly different configuration of tips, mainly due to the fact we're going to be using it to fish a little bit further out, and you might come into contact with a strong tow, etc. So it's got an ounce, 1.5 ounces, and a 2 ounce. So a tip to suit literally every eventuality. Usage-wise, for me, it's a 30 to sort of 65 metre rod. Feeders up to sort of 30, 40 gram. Perfect for venues like Southfield. Just to mention a famous victory for myself, I actually used the 12-foot prototype when I won Feeder King there. It is ideal for that sort of small skimmers, bream, and I've even used it at Ferry Meadows where the bream run to sort of 7, 8 pound. But just to show how versatile the rod is, I've also spent a lot of time on the Trent lately, practicing for the Feeder National and actually fishing the event itself, an event we're actually fortunate enough to win. The 12-foot there has been an outstanding dace rod, fishing feeders 30, 40 gram, and I've even landed barbel on it too. It's not an out-and-out river rod, but with the Trent low and every fish needing to count, it's been the perfect rod for that situation. One of the key features of all 3 rods is the use of 090 super tensile carbon. Now basically, this is the best carbon you can get. And what it gives is the power for casting, but that soft fish playing action where you feel like you're never going to lose another fish. All 3 rods come with Fuji TVS reel seats. Now the beauty of these is they're super comfy in the hand, which suits light rods. In fact, I'd go as far as to say they are the most comfortable rods to hold and fish with I've ever had. Handle length is also worth mentioning while we're on this subject. We've worked really hard as a team, putting a lot of effort into it, swapping rods between people to find what we believe is the perfect handle length. As in, not too long so it gets in the way when you're speed fishing, but long enough to give you that little bit of power in the cast to ensure distance and accuracy. As I've already mentioned, each rod comes with 3 LT090 quivers. Anyone that knows me knows I'm ridiculously fussy when it comes to quiver tips. They have to have the perfect action and the perfect blend. So what we've done, we've used a tapered guide system, which basically means we've just tapered the guides as they go down the rod to create better balance and better bite detection, but also make them suitable for shot leader work. On the subject of quiver tips, a nice little addition to the range is that of the 1/2 ounce tip. Now, this doesn't come with any of the rods, but it is available as an extra. What I'd use it for is short range fishing, particularly in the winter where every bite needs to count and you want to magnify bites from like shy biting skimmers. It's actually a tip I used all winter at Hallcroft in the pairs, which I fished with Frankie, and again, an event we won while we were testing the rods, which just again shows how effective those rods are. But it's a great little tip when you're fishing really slack on those days where you're trying to magnify every indication and hit every bite. Something that's really important with a feeder rod is guide choice. Now, we've tried a lot of different guides on these rods and we've had a lot of meetings and we've disagreed sometimes, but we've eventually settled on Fuji K guides. For me, there's no better guide. They're extremely hard wearing, they're anti-frap, which means on the cast you're not going to get drag downs, and better still, they're made to last. So these rods are going to last you a lifetime. One of the key technologies used in all 3 rods is something we call RJS. Now, in layman's terms, this stands for rigid joint system. To explain further, sometimes when you put a joint inside another joint, so the spigot, you get a flat spot. What RJS does is eliminate this flat spot and create that seamless curve that you're looking for when feeder fishing. A couple of nice little additions just to finish the rods off. The addition of the arm lock handle, full cork, that just makes it a little bit more comfortable when you're playing fish, and also the Guru rear butt grip, which just makes casting that little bit easier. To sum up, and a couple of things I haven't mentioned, the 10-foot rod is 2-piece, the 11-foot 2-piece, and the 12-foot is 3-piece. The reason we've gone for 3-piece on the 12-foot is easier storage and also a much better fish playing action, creates that much softer action that I was looking for with that particular rod. So as you can see, there's literally something there to suit all your silverfish needs.